Hey guys, I'm Davey Wavey, creator of the gay erotic website Himeros.tv, and today we have a very special episode of Himeros Live with sex and intimacy coach Finn Deerhart and tantric sex coach Brad Amberhart. And today we are talking about gay sex, of course, but in particular, the underwear play party. Let's get started. You guys know I have an underwear joke that I obviously want to share.
Can
I'm
hardly
not.
wait.
Uh, uh, Everyone's gonna tell me it's a dad joke. Everyone's gonna make fun of me.
Not me.
Okay. What did the man
I
with
want.
5 penises say when he put on his underwear?
I'm gonna have to get out of my little boy underwear. Find something more accommodating.
Fits like a glove.
Oh, well, that's great.
Himeros Live is brought to you by Himeros.tv. If if you're ready to watch gay porn unlike anything you've ever seen, with authenticity, with guys that are representative of our community, with real sexual ecstasy, then you're ready for Himeros.tv. Created by Davey Wavey, Himeros.tv is a porn site evolved. With hundreds of videos and hundreds of hours of content, Himeros.tv features some of your favorite models like Blake Mitchell, Pierce Paris, and Diego Sands, but also guys that look like everyone else, because sexual ecstasy is for all of us. Best of all, the videos are co-created with a team of gay sex experts, so you can have the best gay sex of your life. Join the gay porn revolution and save 20% at himeros.tv/pod. Himeros.tv, it's like porn, but better. Hey, Brad, welcome back to the show.
I'm so happy to be back. This is so fun. I haven't seen Finn in a while.
Yeah. Are you at home in Asheville?
Yes, in Asheville, North Carolina, USA.
With your cup of tea?
With my cup of tea and my tropical plants I brought in for the frost. And my sex room, which I had to turn into a guest room for my mother last weekend and put away all the black and white male nudes. The sex toys, refreshed it, moved the furniture around, got rid of the mirrors, but now they're all back.
Okay, different energy temporarily.
Temporarily, but I know how to shift it, girl.
Yeah. Are you naked? Are you naked right now?
No, I'm in red underwear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
in blue underwear.
Just in case. What?
I'm in blue underwear. It's fucking hot in here, so I'm like t-shirt and underwear.
Does it fit like a glove?
It's more like boxer briefs.
Maybe we can show each other after a while. I had tight new blue ones, then I lost them somewhere on the floor. I'm always losing my underwear.
Well, it's appropriate because this is the underwear play party. I'm not in my underwear, but I feel like I should get into the spirit here. So
yeah, I'm surprised at you.
I'm sorry. So, well, one of the reasons, Brad, that I'm so excited you're here is because you wrote the concept for today's video, which we're going to talk about later on in the show. So it's exciting to have you for that. What a treat.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It was even more fun implementing the video than writing it because I was there.
It was really fun. Yeah, it was really fun. All right. So Finn, Brad, do you guys have any updates on your life? What's going on? What's new?
Well, I am stoked about, well, actually, I think I told you today. I know I told you today. I am going to be doing with my partner, Jason's Tantra diploma program at Joshua Tree next year.
Yeah. Yeah. So what does that mean? Like, what are you going to get out of it? What does the program entail?
Well, it's a week. One of his basically a diploma in Tantra is like he takes people through his rendition or his the way he understands it in 3 different modules. And this one is orgasm and bliss, and so techniques and meditations and just the process with the group. So Sam and I are going to be working with each other with option to work with other people if we want, and then we'll be in separate supervision groups so that we have our own individual processes that are not enmeshed. And it's like I think 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. at night every day.
And is this to is it kind of for your personal growth and development, or is it teaching you how to be like a teacher or like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
all of it. No, I know exactly what you're saying. I love it because it is the coalescence of those things, like my partnership for one, which is a kind of a template for a lot of my work and what I'm learning in that, but also my work with gay couples. I love working with couples a lot and wanting to really help them with embodied tools. I help them with the psychological stuff a lot, but I really want to have more embodied stuff that they can do together to help them access more of the learning that they need. So that's my emphasis on the work part of it.
Wow, awesome. Well, that's really exciting. And it's when in the spring you said, or fall?
Yeah, Joshua Tree in April, the end of April.
Oh, that'll be a great time to be there too. Oh, you'll be there during Coachella.
Oh wow, I've never been, and I want to stay away from Coachella.
Yeah.
Is that the first of 3 modules you said?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not too late for me to join.
Yeah. He's got 3 in one, like another one in June, but I think I'll probably just do only the first one.
Oh, I thought you were doing 3 modules.
Over the next year or two. Like I probably won't hustle them all up.
Well, when you guys come out here to the Coachella Valley in Southern California, you can stay in my new house.
Dude, I'm stoked about that.
Yeah, I just found out today my offer got accepted. It's not the house we were talking about last week. It's a different house. And I was a little bummed last week I didn't get that house, but then I'm even more in love with the house this week. It's so freaking cute. Yay. It has pink tiles in the kitchen.
Yeah, I saw that. I was hoping that you liked that and we're going to remodel it.
Yeah, they did. The house, it looks like a time capsule from like 1955.
It's so cool.
Yeah. And I'm honestly going to keep it. Like, I'm not going to, put granite countertops in, and going to keep it feeling very vintage and probably film something in it at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help myself.
I was going to say it would be a great place to film something like Waiting for Rock.
Yes.
Which was a vintage video, or, my dream come true would be more Bob Mizer style posing strap wrestling videos in black and white. But Davey says that wouldn't really fit today's audience, but they could be modified,
Yeah. Totally. Or it can start as that and evolve into some sort of hot fucking, I don't know. There's a shuffleboard in the backyard. I mean, it's just so fucking cute. It's so cute.
It's cool.
So I won't move in until January because I'll be traveling and then home in Rhode Island for December. But yeah, we'll have to we'll do something. So Brad, what's new with you? I know you were camping yesterday, but you've been traveling the world per usual.
Oh, thank you for asking. I do go camping an average of once a week. It's where I get my great ideas. Yeah. I'm putting together a collection of stories, and it's going to probably be called the Book of Matthew, because it's a collection of letters that I wrote to my friend Matthew in Newton, Massachusetts over the last years, and they're all about how this sexually ecstatic experience manages to fit into other aspects of our lives. Like, it's a contrast between being at a nursing home when my mother's going through rehabilitation, and then the next moment being in my house at an orgy with 40 people. So I'm just writing about this real life experience of being a sexual ecstatic, and I'm going to publish it in the spring in April, and it's going to be called the Book of Matthew: Sexually Ecstatic Love Epiphanies from One Whore to Another. Yeah, I mean, I may have to put in another title like Man Whore. I don't know. But,
oh my God, I love that. I got a vaginal vibration as you said the subtitle.
Sexually ecstatic love or man whore.
Yeah, I got a queef. It was
one?
queef-worthy.
The love epiphanies or the man whore?
From one man whore to another. That's when
okay, good. I'll keep that title. The subtitle.
But I was gonna say the queef that I got though was I'm excited. What you were describing about the nursing homes, then like this other experience with like the men and like the shifting back and forth in the parts of self and being able to hold all of that.
Right, and I have it all recorded, handwritten, and I'm typing it and editing it, and I'm very, very excited to say that each week I'm going to be putting a new excerpt from a story on my website and my blog. So I can't resist just saying, check out my website, bradamberhart.com, and click on blog, and I'm going to start sharing excerpts from the man whore experience. This is the most exciting thing happening right now.
That is very exciting. You'll definitely have to do an audio book version of it that people
Oh
can
yeah,
download.
I'm
I
gonna.
love your
That's
voice.
so cool.
Actually,
Yeah.
I dug up some of them are actually they came in audio before written, and I transcribed them. So I actually have the
Mm.
audio that's recorded with this microphone, and that's going to be showing up on my website. I'm just going to share little teases,
Oh my
but they're
gosh.
enough to make you
Nice.
really excited. So I
Yeah.
like making men excited.
My juices are flowing, girl.
Oh,
Just
thank you.
flowing.
Yeah, audio and written form and audio form is where the excitement is for me now, which is why I'm so happy to be on this podcast.
Yeah. Finn, did you hear the podcast yet from the retreat that Matt and I did?
I did, and I was actually going to say, well, there's so much to say about it. I think I loved it so much. It was one of my favorite things that I've heard, like produced from Himeros in general, and yeah, it stayed with me a lot, and I loved the teaching, yeah, all of it. I just really loved it. The different perspectives that were held.
Yeah, because we haven't really chatted much about it, and Brad,
Mm-mm.
I don't think we've talked since you fully heard it, right?
I finally fully heard it. I waited until my mother left. No,
Okay.
she was still in bed.
Okay.
And Norm and I listened to it by the fireplace with speakers, so it was like
Mm.
surround sound.
Oh my God.
And um I got to tell you, I was a little sad after that retreat. It was like giving birth. I
Mm.
understood what maybe a bit of
Mhm.
what postpartum might feel like when the baby's born and then you're just home and what am I going to do now? And when I
Mhm.
this is a really unique retreat because it was recorded and there was so much beauty in all of those words. I was just so ecstatic listening to it. I've only listened to it once, but I need it as a booster shot because it inspires me for creating more opportunities like that. In fact, I want to do another retreat for men in Joshua Tree in May. I'm hoping maybe will be available and we can do a similar retreat. It may not be Himeros affiliated, or maybe Davey or maybe Matt will have to stop by and film a couple videos while we're there.
Yeah.
But there was something very special about being witnessed, and I love the approach you took in the podcast of framing it from the perspective of an observer. How many intimate
Mhm.
retreats are completely witnessed by someone who doesn't actually participate? And Matt was such a beautiful window into this reality. He was able to lead people by the hand into a reality and make it make sense. I really loved his commentary. I really loved Matt. In fact, I was hoping he might be on the
Mhm.
podcast tonight.
Yeah, he might
Mhm.
stop in later. He's caught up with some stuff at work. So
Oh, let's
he
just
might.
pray that he does. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I so love him. So
And
great
there
having him there.
and as a guide, through this 90-minute episode, like 90 minutes is daunting. It's an hour and a half, but he has so much humor in the way that he tells a story, and I just there's parts of it where you're laughing, there's parts where you're crying. It's a whole journey.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, and you know what, you guys like really. What I loved most about hearing you and Matthew was it seemed like you weren't really invested in upholding some certain image of yourselves. Like you were really vulnerable and sharing what was happening for you, coming up for you, and it was like getting to know you both more through that work as well, through your experience of it. So it was really powerful
Yeah.
to me.
Well, I hope anyone who hasn't listened to it yet, make sure you check it out. It's the special bonus episode. And we've gotten so many great comments about it, including people saying like, "Oh, I was really nervous. This is 90 minutes. Is it going to be worth it?" Yes, 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 it is. So please check it out if you haven't already. Um, so also, this is our first time doing this, but I have it's our first sponsor for Himeros Live, and I'm really excited to read this little ad spot because I feel like there couldn't be a better fit for a
Mhm.
sponsorship.
Yeah.
So, for the first time, I can officially tell you Himeros Live is brought to you by adamandeve.com. Use discount code Himeros, which is Himeros, to save 50% off almost any one item and get free shipping in the US and
Whoa,
Canada.
50%.
Yeah.
50%.
I want a vibrating butt plug. Mine's the wrong size. I want a really nice vibrating butt plug for Christmas
Well,
Day.
so here's what's crazy about this is that they have, first of all, they've been in business for 45 years. They have 24/7 customer service, but they have a 90-day no hassle return policy, which is not something that sex toy companies do. So if you get the wrong size butt plug, then you can send it back.
What do they do with all the ones that have been used? Do they wash them and resell?
They donate them to an orphanage. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
they make like tackle out of them for fishers.
So I don't know. I fucking love sex toys, and to me, there's nothing sexier than a good bargain. So the Himeros discount code makes all these toys a really great buy. You can get yourself a masturbator. You can get a butt plug. I was just sharing last week how it's been really helpful for me to relearn how to jerk off without doing the death grip with a masturbator, with the flesh jack. They have all those toys on the site. So check it out. It's adamandeve.com.
I just want to tell you the full circle that this makes for me. When I was a kid, Adam and Eve, my parents had catalogs of Adam and Eve in their dresser drawers, and I would go through their dresser when they weren't there and like find like sex toys and stuff and go through these catalogs. And I got in big trouble for it when they caught me. But that was like one of my original pornographic things that I was looking at when I was a kid.
I'm surprised that they had sex toys from how you've described your parents and being so religious.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know that they knew how to use them, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. They might have been sticking with like the blindfolds and like the feathers, you know, they might have been keeping it light.
Yeah.
What Jesus intended. Cool. So another exciting update to share that I just read the first draft of Journeys season 2 for the script. It's so fucking good. Season 1, I think I love it. It was our first effort, but season 2 really, it just kicks it up to the next level. And I think from a storytelling perspective, it's just so smart. And it really took a whole bunch of us, including Finn, to really bring this to where it needed to go. So we're filming that in January, and it will probably come out in March. So again, get your pussies moistened and wet for that. And other than that, the only update I have is I've been reading The Velvet Rage, which was a recommendation from Finn. It was a recommendation from you, Finn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, as I was reading it, it's a great book. There's a lot about shame, and the subtitle is Overcoming the Pain of Growing Up Gay in a Straight Man's World. Alan Downs, who is the author of this is the best-selling gay book of all time in the nonfiction genre, excluding like autobiographies and celebrity gossip stuff. I looked up the author, and he lives in Palm Springs, and we had dinner last night.
That's so cool.
And he was so fucking smart and lovely. And he was on Oprah. I didn't realize that this book was featured on Oprah, and she actually read it.
Wow.
He said like her copy was all dog-eared, and during the commercial break, she would like ask questions about it. And like, that's, I don't know. I was just so excited. What a small gay world. I love only like for like gay people would something like this happen, you know? So, all right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Finn, thank you for the recommendation. I sent out an article this week that I want to discuss. Brad, I know you haven't seen the article, but I have some excerpts here. It's titled How Capitalism is Killing Human Intimacy. So this was on the Medium. My friend John actually shared this on Facebook, which is how I found it. And it cites something which I've heard before. I've heard people mention this before, which is that young people are having less sex compared to previous decades. And it's dramatically so. It's not just like a little bit less sex, it's significant. And the trends are you know, the trajectory continues. So
even with Tinder?
Especially because of Tinder.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm listening. Yeah.
Yeah. So the author writes, because all of these things, from a sex recession to skyrocketing suicide to soaring loneliness, are all faces of the same beast. A total collapse in social bonds, people's ability to have relationships, to discover, create, and enjoy human intimacy itself. Eros, The capacity to love and be loved is dying, my friends. So the author points out that these trends of less sex, that all of this is specifically an American problem, that Europeans, for example, are not in the same situation, and that they seem a lot happier, and that Americans live with a lot of fear and anxiety and rage and depression, and that life in America is really something of a struggle, that like we live in this capitalistic society. It's like you work until you're dead, you're, you know, paid a relatively small amount of money, often not a livable wage. Your healthcare can be taken away. 80% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. Even as I say these things, I can feel the weight of the stress and the anxiety. And so the author goes on to describe how this same capitalistic approach has made its way into the dating apps like Tinder. So he says, on Tinder, the point of the game is to win a night with the hottest person, and anyone who's not a 6 or 7 barely gets noticed at all. The winner takes all. The strong survive. The one with perfect pecs, faces, tits, haircuts, perfect, meaning the ones who resemble the ones that you see in ad campaigns and in films and in advertisements. The ones who've turned themselves into the most enviable and desirable consumer goods. And the weak, they perish. Tech promised something impossible, which is always something seductive. To make the difficult, perilous ordeal of dating something as easy as a swipe right and a swipe left. But it didn't work out that way. Dating didn't become any easier. Sex didn't become any easier. It just became a lot easier for a tiny few people for all the wrong reasons. Having the perfect pecs or boobs, capitalism is always trying to sell us, versus having a beautiful mind, a pure soul, a heart made of midnight and stardust. That spelled the ongoing death of intimacy. So my question for you guys is, does that feel true for you? Like, has that been your experience?
I would say, well, one thing that I want to counterpoint is that, you know, the death of Eros, I think, is a beautiful poetic way for the author to say that. And at the same time, I say Eros is not dying as life force. It's just people aren't tapping in or tuning into it or like really paying attention. And I don't know. It's one of these. I love this article, and it's a both and thing. You know, like we're on this, you know, Google Hangouts. We're having a podcast. We're reaching tons of people. We're using these technological means to really create and move information across the world. You know, and so that's a great thing about it. But I think to me, it's like if we zoom out past like the onset of technology, and like it's like the soul of America, where this is my opinion that I'm throwing in there, but the soul of it is sick, and that it comes from that, you know, and then the technology has just made it really easy to like deepen the sickness.
Yeah.
You know, and I encourage people radically, you know, if you want to go on a first date with somebody, maybe meet them on Tinder, but then put your phone at home and just, it's radical, but like, don't take your phone on this date. And like, maybe you set off on a walk where you don't even know where you're going to go with this person, and see what happens when you connect to the alive parts of you versus like the, you know, chained parts.
Well, something that Matt and I discussed at Easton Mountain was that we kind of both had this joint realization. Well, I don't want to speak for him. I at least had this realization that I have placed so much emphasis on physical appearance, and it didn't occur to me that could be in part because we use apps that are really designed to support that perspective. It's like on Tinder, you see a person's face. Brad, I don't know if you've ever used Tinder before. Yeah.
I love Brad's face right now.
Yeah, that was a no. Yeah. I would love, I want to create a whole video series of Brad doing things like setting up a Tinder profile and like getting your commentary on Tinder, or like getting your license renewed at the DMV or something. Like just watching you exist in the world is so fascinating to me because you have such a different perspective on things.
I mean, I thought Tinder was the straight people's grinder. That's what I thought. I didn't even realize gay people used it until recently. I got a clue that maybe they were.
Yeah. It's different than Grindr.
Is it like a gay section, or is it just kind of like you're in there with everyone of every identity, and identity ceases to exist?
No, it's not that at all. It's at when you create your profile, you say, okay, I'm a man and I'm into men. And so what happens is you open the app and you see a picture of someone. And if you click the picture, you can see a few more pictures, and you can read like a paragraph that they've written, and you decide if you're interested in them, you swipe right. If you're not interested, you swipe left. So you kind of go right, left, right, left. And these decisions aren't, you don't sit there for 10 minutes and look at someone's profile. It's like I would guess that the statistics are probably a person spends like 1.5 seconds. You just make a very quick decision. And let's be honest, that decision isn't made on the content of their character or their mind or their soul. It's just, oh, I like what I see. Yes. I don't like what I see. No. It's not based on their talents or the way they make you feel or their humor. It's how they look.
Yeah.
Or any kind of empathetic connection. Go ahead, Brad. Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of directions I could go with what you shared about the article. It's an article on Medium, right?
Yeah.
I love Medium, and I'm looking forward to reading the article. However, I mean, the deepest curiosity for me is if people really are having less sex and less connection now, which actually isn't my experience, but if people really are having less sex now than they did in the 1950s, I mean, I find that really hard to believe. But if they are, what does it have to do with capitalism? I mean, the shit's really up for me right now because I'm noticing, you know, I really am wanting to be more capitalistic and, you know, like have people access all of my goods, you know, and audio and video and writing. And then meanwhile, I notice I am having less sex, so I can directly relate. I'd much rather be a manho every afternoon and I spend more time marketing. And I can't exactly, I mean, I have to admit, I have a really deeply empathic response to people who feel lonely and people who feel that they're not wanted. And one of my missions in life is to create more spaces where people can find connection in a world that seems to be disenfranchising people of certain shapes and sizes. I happen to be fortunate that I inherited my father's body type. And I've taken really good care of my body. I mean, part of it is I do take care of my body, and part of it is genetics. And the way that people have responded to my body since I was 18 or for my whole life is different than they would respond to me if I weighed 150 pounds more, if I had a different shaped nose. I mean, I'm often left guessing, what am I going to tell someone? Like, you know, when I say, well, I have a vibrant sex life, you know, my life consists of traveling through ecstatic states of sexual awareness. And they say, well, it must, you know, that's easy for you to say, you know, look at me. I'm 72. I don't look like you. And yet the upside is we are on Himeros Live. And I think it's brilliant that you would bring this up, Davey, just before we get ready to talk about the underwear play party, which is the first of 12 videos that we made last month. And you may not be ready to shift the subject, but when you asked me this question of what are we going to do in an era when people only have 1.4 seconds to make an impression on Tinder, and people aren't really gravitating to them because of their age or the way they look, and they're being dismissed. The antidote is that we actually came up with a way for people to connect of all body types, different sizes, colors, textures, ages, and we did it. And I would say the underwear video it's kind of like dipping in a toe. I mean, I'm really expecting that as we go on and we see these other videos that came out from this cutting edge project that we did last month, we're going to see a new model for the way that people can relate. And I think we're doing it. And I don't think everyone's experience has to mirror what you read in the article. I certainly hope not. I see a lot of people getting together and having a lot more fun now than I did 10 years ago, but that's of course filtered through my experience.
Yeah. And we are, I think, creating a different narrative with videos like the underwear party. Finn, I didn't mean to cut you off, so feel free to.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, I love what Brad was saying. And I think I like any kind of article or any kind of source that's kind of polarizing in the way that it describes a situation. I do have, it makes me like curious about the other side of things, because honestly, as a consumer, we bring our own values to the market, and that's what makes it possible for a product to be consumed. And if we want something, deeper out of our own selves than just the experience of physical validation, then we're really probably going to be more interested in more from someone else besides just physical, so it's like that's important, but there's so much more, so I think it talks again from a meta level about people and just what our values are.
Yeah, maybe there's an opportunity for a tantric Tinder.
I think there's some of that in development. Yeah.
Okay. Well, also, can we just put this out there that like Tinder has sold us a lie? Like, it is not a dating app as it pretends to be. Like, its goal is not to have you meet someone and make a lasting connection, because if it was really trying to do that, it would be putting itself out of business. If it was effective at matching you with a good partner, like its model would be, losing customers. Of course, assuming that those people are monogamous, which is an assumption. But like, let's be clear, Tinder's goal is to make you swipe as many people as possible, because every 15 or 20 swipes, you see an ad, and that's how they make money, which of course comes back to capitalism. So they want you to see as many ads as possible. And so they've made this all into a game. Like, it's kind of an addiction. It's not a dating app. And when you get a match with someone, you get a quick hit, you get a rush, and then you keep swiping for the next rush. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of checking that. I also, one of the reasons why I love producing Himeros TV projects is because, like, I get something out of them. And one of the things that I have been shifting is even my use of Tinder and Grindr. And I don't think we've really gone into detail about this on the podcast, but one of the questions that we asked the guys in the retreat, it made it into the bonus episode, was, what are you looking for? And it's a common question that guys will say on Grindr. They'll type in, what are you looking for? And usually people are like, oh, I'm looking for dick, I'm looking for ass. But our question was, and Brad can explain this better than I can, but we said, what are you really looking for when you're on Grindr all those hours? What's the desire behind the desire? Is it really just a big dick? Is it an ass to fuck? Maybe, but maybe there's, a motivation behind that. Am I explaining that part right, Brad?
Yeah, of course you are.
Okay. So Matt and I didn't answer that question in the retreat, but of course I started thinking about it. Like, what am I really looking for on Grindr? Is it just sex? Because obviously I'm horny. We're all horny, but I don't know that I'm horny enough to spend the amount of time and energy and effort that I put into an app like Grindr. And if I'm going to be very, I guess, honest and vulnerable about it, I think what I'm looking for on Grindr is connection. And I'm not using it just when I'm horny. I'm always horny. I'm using it when I feel lonely or when I feel disconnected. And I think this also speaks to some of what was in the article, that we have these digital tools now. And you would think, well, Grindr, it should be a means to connection and bringing people together. But like, after I use Grindr, I don't feel more connected. And even after I hook up with a guy, after he leaves an hour later, like, I don't know. It's not, I guess my point is, if it's a connection that I want, then spending time with friends or FaceTiming with my family, getting involved, going to dinner with someone that, I care about, like, those things give me the connection that I need. And now when I find myself reaching for my phone or reaching for Grindr, I ask myself what it is that I want. Am I going on here? It's distinguishing between horniness and loneliness. So am I reaching for this phone because I'm horny? Okay, fine. Then I can find a guy on there and have horny fun with him. But am I reaching for this phone because I'm lonely? And if it is because I'm lonely, there's a better way to do that. It's kind of like distinguishing between being hungry and having a craving. Like, am I reaching for this food because my body needs nourishment? Or am I reaching for this because I'm bored and I want to, feel some sort of pleasure?
Yeah.
Anyway, that I'll stop. But that was kind of what I got out of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm in agreement with what you're saying. There have been times when it was really horny but realized I was lonely, and I think I've talked about it on here. Like I had more fun, like when my partner was gone, for instance, I had on the table like the possibility to hook up with one of my friends, but I had more fun calling my partner and jacking off with him on the phone and talking about fantasies because I really wanted that connection. And then I felt really excited, and after I came with him, I was like, oh God, I'm glad I didn't hook up with my friend. Because I really just wanted him, and I could see that. It was fun.
Yeah. Even last weekend, I went to Joshua Tree with a friend, and really sexy guy. And I kind of like what I was craving. I just brought awareness to what I was really craving out of that situation. And it wasn't just like getting fucked. It was spending time with someone and like cuddling and like being vulnerable with each other. And we didn't even fuck while we were there. We certainly like, made out and played whatever. We did other things, but like that was really what I was craving. And it was nice to be able to bring awareness to that.
I'd like to say you did describe the exercise really accurately, what we did at Eastern Mountain in terms of asking people what they really want. And there was also another level. In addition to what we want on Grindr, the question is, what are you really looking for? Which can go deeper than what I'm looking for on Grindr, because I really like the way you spoke to that, Davey. I mean, we're looking for connection. We're looking for feeling fulfilled in the presence of our loved ones and our families. So it really comes down to a core level of what is the sensation that we're seeking in our body? If we feel at peace, if we feel satisfied, if we feel energized, exhilarated, happy, content, those are qualities that can be supported in a lot of ways. Good sex is definitely one great way, and I really hope that Grindr and Scruff and Tinder are enabling someone to get together and have really hot sex. They never worked for me. I seem to have a lot of people
do sometimes.
Go ahead. I think, yeah, I'm sure people do sometimes. I just hear a lot of people feeling disenchanted.
Yeah. I think, I think the strategy is, and I think I've mentioned this before. Will Tantra shared this. He's like, when I'm horny, I go on Grindr, I meet a guy, and we have fun, and then I close the app. Like I don't sit with it open for 3 hours. Like I don't, use it when I'm not actually available and I need to leave in 30 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, let's just do like he uses it very mindfully. And I love that approach. Like, I have dinner plans tonight at 5:45 and we hang up from this podcast. Am I going to check Grindr? Well, what's the point, right? Like I'm going to dinner. And so I do want to make a plug for the Himeros Experience virtual retreat, which tickets are now on sale at himeros.tv/events. Finn's going to be hosting this right when we're filming Journeys, and it is Saturday, January 25th. So you guys can use discount code POD, which is POD, to save $10 off of your ticket. And so from the comfort of your home, you can spend time with Finn and some of your favorite Himeros.tv models, learning about pleasure and orgasms and seeing all that hot action on camera. It's an 18+ event, and tickets are at himeros.tv/events. So get yours while they're still available. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
All right. So should we dive into this week's video?
I can hardly wait.
Okay. Hey. It is titled Underwear Play Party, and I'm going to ask Brad to tell us a little bit about the concept and how he thought of it. But first, this video features the 8 participants from our recent Tantric retreat and film shoot at Eastern Mountain. I uploaded this video first, I guess because it features all 8 participants. So it's a really fun way for you to get to meet these guys. And over the course of the next year and a half, probably you'll see the other videos from these guys. But the video opens with each guy coming through the door and undressing to reveal his favorite pair of sexy underwear. And as that happens, you hear some of the intentions from the guys as voiceover. And then we see 4 different scenes of the guys playing together. And the final scene is this really sexy orgy of all 8 men. So if you guys want to see a free preview of the video, you can go to himeros.tv to check it out. All right, so Brad, tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this video.
Well, the inspiration is some of the hottest sex that I have ever experienced was in my underwear. Sometimes the underwear never comes off. Sometimes the underwear won't hold your hard throbbing dick when it pops out the top. And, I have a lot of serious ideas, and we needed an idea in there that was just so lighthearted that all Davey needed to do was write 1 sentence about it in the description below. It's an underwear party with an intention. Very, very clear. I did have, of course, a deeper concept that that we decided not to go with, because what I wanted to have a deep sharing circle one night where all the guys talked about if they could create anything they wanted, like if they knew that their semen was going to fertilize the most brilliant idea and the deepest passion that they could ever conceive in their heart and give birth to something new in their lives, what would it be? I mean, I wanted people to say, I want an end to hunger in the world. I really want all people to have ecstatic sexual connection. I wanted to hear guys saying that out loud while we watched them fuck. And, we kind of modified that. Davey and I had some discussions about it, and we decided consensually with much discussion that really it would be better if we just hear from the men about their intentions when they're walking in the door, taking off their clothes, because it might be a little distracting for an audience to listen to them talk about world peace while we're watching them swallow a big cock, So maybe that's for a future video.
Yeah, we're not ready for it yet.
Yeah, and it was perfect. It's lighthearted. I have much more to share about it, and I don't know when you're ready, because I think your question was, how did you come up with the idea? But I have some fun things to talk about what happened when we merged this concept with a director and how we collaborated and how excited I was on the set.
Well, let me see, Finn, what was your impression of the video? We'll get Finn's thoughts, and then we'll circle back, Brad.
Well, I didn't hear that, in the video, like the intention behind it when you had originally had, but I did feel like there was a connection to that when they were walking in the door and sharing their intention and taking off their clothes. I really loved that was like a symbolic, removing of armor. And, the intention I think that we have is often like a really vulnerable thing that we can be afraid to like share, or like, can I be brave enough to ask it? So seeing them come in that way, stating it, taking off their clothes, I was really, struck with that, and I loved it. And seeing that the ritual space of it all was slowed down enough that they could be present with each other while doing all that stuff, because I think in sex the tendency is frequently to just kind of like tune out parts of ourselves, and what it looked like to me was that the men were really tuning into more parts of themselves, and because they had the ability to connect in a slower way and really build, it had a container built for it, so I felt like I got that from it, and I love that.
Yeah, it literally slowed down, because the video is almost entirely in slow motion, which it was an interesting choice. I kind of, in hindsight, wish we had more like real time, real speed footage with more of the audio of the guys. But also we had, as Brad's going to explain, we had other things going on while it was being filmed. And so doing it in slow motion, there's no audio, which gave us a lot of freedom to work with the guys off camera. I mean, Brad, do you want to explain a little bit more about what the process was?
Yeah, sure. The filming of this video was really an evolutionary learning experience, because we were having a Tantra retreat, And by the way, this video was filmed on day 3. It wasn't filmed on day 1. This is after people had really had a chance to warm up. And that's why it can be a little confusing when you watch it and you're not familiar with the setting, you're not aware this is within the context of a tantric retreat, because you might think these guys might be porn stars, and you notice something isn't quite like what you would see if they were porn stars. And if you look at them like you're expecting them to be porn stars, you may be going, what's happening here? So I'd like to just point out that these men are not porn stars. They're men from many different walks of life who were chosen because they showed in an interview process and an application process that they were willing to connect with men of different ages and body types. So this is your first opportunity to see in video form what happens when a group of men who aren't porn stars actually go through the creative process of making a video together. So when you're doing a Tantra retreat, the whole process is about evolution and growth. Normally there's no camera there and there's no one filming. We have many more videos that have a much more intimate, give you a lot more intimate insight into what actually happened in our retreat. This video was actually an opportunity to play with filmmaking, so that the actual art of making a film became part of the Tantric retreat. So what you're watching actually, it involves a bit of posing. To some degree, it involves some level of acting, even though these men are not actors. Because we found a way to merge the tantric experiments we had been doing with the vision of a director. Now, this video is quite different from the other 11 we filmed because really I didn't write this. I developed a concept for what might be conveyed, which is men having fun in their underwear with an intention. And that was a clear enough and simple enough concept that the director was actually able to dream up a vision of what the underwear play party would look like. So that the director already had a vision when we arrived of what we were going to do in this underwear play party, where people were going to stand, what the props were going to be. And in my recollection, we didn't do a lot of that in the other videos. We may have done it in 1 or 2 others.
Yeah.
So long and short of it is, I was very, very impressed with what happened when men who were already in a state of ecstatic pleasure merged with a director's structure. And they were actually able to take direction, even though they're not porn stars, and bring their pleasure into the video. So with that background, I hope people who are watching it will appreciate it a little more and understand that these are men that came and left their lives behind, and they took time off work. And they came there to learn and to grow, and they were playing in this video with what it would be like to create a film. I would like to say my most cherished memory from filming this video is that I was able to set up PlayStations off the camera. So while the camera was rolling, behind the cameras, we had massage tables set up, and I was guiding these guys in how to touch one another and get one another as excited as hell. So we had duos, trios, and even quads of men that were writhing in erotic ecstasy off to the side. And then right when they would get into a peak state of ecstatic pleasure, the director would come over and go, "Hey, I need you in this scene. Would you mind coming over here and standing in front of a window with a bunch of grapes over your head?" So I loved that setup. I felt like kind of like heaven on earth had come. That a director could have his vision and he could call the shots like directors do and say, "Let's do this, let's do that." And the men were just ready and excited and in their bodies.
Yeah. And for people listening, that's not how porn is typically made.
Yeah, tell us.
Here's what our audience, here's a few comments from folks. This is from Rich. I love the fact that these guys don't look like your typical porn stars. I actually find them sexier and more interesting to watch than just the buff gym perfect bodies in porn that I'm used to seeing. And then Anthony says, wow, I don't think I've ever seen an erotic video with so many different types of men in it. I love the fact that there are young guys, older guys, much older guys, and guys of different races and body types. Yum. So I think, it's definitely, we've talked about this before, that what you typically see in porn is a very specific aesthetic. And what we know from our audience is that there's really a craving and a desire to see more than just that. And I think a lot of studios have made the assumption that, like, okay, this is how it's been. This is what we need to show, these muscly, smooth guys. And yet there seems to be this appetite for so much more, and for people to see guys that look like themselves and guys that look different. And we are a very diverse community of gay men, and it's fun to see all of us enjoying the ecstasy.
Amen.
Gay men.
Gay men. So, Brad, what do you want people to take away from this video when they watch it?
Oh gosh. Well, what I would really love for people to realize is it is possible, definitely possible, to have a joyous, fun sexual experience with someone that you may not think is your type. And that these men are not actors. These are men who are really enjoying themselves. I would love for people to take note that some of the most ecstatic experiences that people can have don't always mean that their dicks rock hard. It may not mean that they're getting fucked. It could just be about that unstoppable laughter that comes from the core of your body. The sensation of just really being in love with life and your body shaking with delight. But most of all, please just be inspired that it is possible to have joyous sexual ecstatic experiences with people that you may not have thought were your type.
Yeah. And you did mention the erections that in this video. I mean, there's different ranges of hardness. Some guys are hard, some are soft, some dicks go from soft to hard and from hard to soft. We weren't using, in porn, typically there's all sorts of chemicals that are used to make dicks rock hard. And this was a very different approach than that. Did you have any thoughts about that, Brad? I know you had something that you might want to read that's a couple minutes long.
Yeah, did you want me to read it now?
Yeah, I think the short version.
Okay, so I'm just going to read this little excerpt that I wrote. It's a story about, well, I'm not going to use up the 2 minutes talking about what it is. So this is one of the most sexually ecstatic experiences I had in my life, and it was just last April. I fucked him for 2 solid hours. Repeatedly, the energy oscillated from wild abandon to complete stillness. Dirty lover became his magic words, which simultaneously excited the fuck out of him and invoked visions of years of wonderful, kinky lovers to come. Your lovers really love your wonderful, naked, beautiful, life-filled body, I affirmed in innumerable ways while I fucked him. Your lovers are filthy, wonderful fuckers who get excited by getting naked and hot with you in bed. It was a transformational magic fuck scene, indeed. And did I mention he never got hard? Our culture has removed itself very far from what passionate sex really is. This man loved sex. His whole body was alive, passionate, and excited. It's amazing to even conceive for a minute that most, if not all, men that this man had encountered up until now would have perceived his sexual expression to be dysfunctional. Based on how hard his dick got and how long it stayed hard. What? This man was a euphoric lover, enthralled with ecstasy. I loved every fucking minute with him, and so did he. When would the rest of the world catch up with us? Soon, I hope. In the meantime, All of his lovers have caught up because we shifted the reality of sexual enjoyment for him and named the quality of his favorite, soon to clearly be manifest, dirty fucking lovers. Gay man and hallelujah. You can read more on the homepage of my website. I'm posting it tomorrow.
Ooh. If I was a Miss America candidate, this would be my platform. That like the embracing of the soft cock, that like it's almost something that like it almost makes me want to like shake people, that there's such a fixation on hard cocks, an obsession with hard cocks, and hard cocks they can be great and they can be fun and you can get fucked by them, but there's so much else that's available to us. And especially when I see it in older men, and I think also because I live in Palm Springs and that's, you know, a lot of what the community is here, that when I talk to older guys about sex, it's always about my dick doesn't work, my dick doesn't work, my dick doesn't work. And like, it's really, really frustrating. I don't know how to break through that.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, I think if we fixate on the dick, I think because it's like the symbolic piece around like sexual virility, but really it's just like a lack of understanding or even knowledge, because like arousal just concordant means like it's a thing. It's like when we get turned on, when we're actually not thinking about sex or has nothing to do with sex, or we're really highly aroused mentally and emotionally, and then we lose our physical response because they're on different tracks. And just the lack of awareness around that, we conflate like being good enough or worthy enough with like performance, and that's not truly the root of what sex is. To me, sex is an expression. So if we knew that and we felt that in our hearts, I don't think it would be as big of a deal. And I wrestle with that too. I'm not talking it like I don't suffer from the same things, but that's my take on this.
One of my favorite things to say since I was 20 something has been, sex is not a performance, it's a celebration. You know, and if you really treat every encounter as a celebration of life, why would you ever conceive of something like performance anxiety?
Yeah, it takes the stakes off. It takes the high stakes down, where it's like I can just be myself. Really, really, I can just be myself and have fun.
Right. And these guys in the video did that, and they're going to be doing it a lot more. I haven't seen any of the other videos, Davey.
I know. I've seen rough drafts of a few, but I haven't seen much either. So yeah, there's still a lot more to come. I love that though, Brad. I've never heard you say that sex is not a performance, it's a celebration. Yeah.
And Finn said something similar. Finn made me think of my own words. He said sex is not a performance, it's an expression.
Yeah.
And expression is so much fun. It's so fun to let go and be uninhibited. You know, if you use the word uninhibited online, guys think you mean bareback sex.
Right.
And it actually means when you let go and forget what your voice sounds like, you forget wwho's listening and just lose your fucking self, you know?
Right.
It's
so funny. I've never thought of that. It's like if you say uninhibited online, they think they're conflating that with like a lack of boundaries or of your like, you know?
Yeah, this is why I want to see Brad create a Grindr profile and a Tinder profile.
Me too.
Navigate that world. In the last few minutes here, I'm not going to get into the questions. I do have a couple of comments that I want to read. This is from, so someone wrote in saying, "Hey, Davey, I just want to share how much I enjoy your podcast. I found it on Instagram and I'm kind of obsessed and going back through all your old episodes and loving it. As a cisgender heterosexual woman, I totally get that I'm not your audience, but you freaking rock. I love the insights into relationships, love, people, connections, hookups, and just life in general that happens on Himeros Live. It's relevant to everyone, not just the guys that you're podcasting for. Of course, the sex stuff is super hot, and you are fucking hilarious too. Thanks for creating an awesome addition to my life. Have the best week." That's Nadia.
Oh,
Thanks,
Nadia.
Yeah, and we are creating it for everyone.
We need our sisters.
What's that? We do need our sisters.
I said we need our sisters and allies. Totally. It's beautiful. Thank you.
All right. And the last comment I'm going to read is, I love the videos. I love the podcast. Quick favor, though. It would give me multiple ecstatic orgasms if Davey would pronounce the TS in Easton Mountain just once. Thank you. So I always say Easton Mountain. So Jay, this is for you. Easton Mountain. Easton Mountain. Yeah. I hope
But you say mountain too. Mountain.
Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope that gives you the multiple ecstatic orgasms that
a one-of-a-kind retreat center that probably hosts more gay men's retreats than any other place I know of in the world. I really love it there.
Wow.
So next week we are discussing a video called Yearning that we filmed in Sweden. Finn, where can people find more of you?
FinnDeerhart.com, FINNDEERHART.com.
And Brad, where can people find more of you?
BradAmberhart.com. My heart has an E in it. Brad, AMBERHEART. Check out the blog. I'm going to post these stories. I'm excited. I'm editing them.
Awesome.
Yay.
And remember to visit himeros.tv/pod to save 20% off your himeros.tv membership so you can become part of the family. Thanks so much for listening. And as always, more to come.